Hello, good evening. We are live. We are live on live stream. We are live in Instagram land. Hey guys. Hey. It's Wednesday. It's Wellness Wisdom Wednesday. And I'm your host, Dawn Horizons, certified holistic health coach and massage therapist, mom of 5, grandma of 4. Yeah. But I got nothing on this lady. This is my friend, my helper, my advisor, my designer. Like, she has a lot of titles in my life. And she's awesome and amazing. And so I wanted her to meet you because we've been talking about a topic recently and then realized we're both talking about the same topic and offering different perspectives of this same topic. And the topic is self-care, self-love, which is so very important. So I want to introduce you to my friend, amazing woman, a mother of 7, count it, 5, 6, 7, plus her husband, so really 8. Okay, yeah, let's get that straight. He's awesome and amazing too, and I love him dearly. So this is Mrs. Amber Locke.
Hello, I'm happy to be here tonight.
Tell us something about you.
There's a lot about me.
Besides the 7 kids.
So I do have 7 kids. And I do, like she said, have many titles. My vocation is a doula. So I do holistic, full spectrum doula work. Which is birth work. And then when I'm not doing that, I am writing or homeschooling.
That was a lot right there, right?
Momming.
Momming. I'm adulting and mommying 24/7. And I make time to help other people become mommies. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome and amazing. I've always admired that about you. Something else, and I don't know if I ever said this to you, but I'm saying it to you now publicly, is I really admire the way that you handle things. And I remember on 2 different occasions, you had talks with my daughters, the oldest one and then the younger one. And you were talking about, our womanly things, our womanly issues, but the perspective that you come from is so different. And the time and the compassion that you take to make them understand. So I remember one time you were like talking to Hallie, but another time you were talking to Mariah. Mariah's 24 now. Hallie is 16, so vast age difference, understanding difference. And when I think back, I remember you were able to talk to each of them for their perspective, age range, and understanding level. And I think that is really awesome.
Really awesome. It's important to me. Because I remember when I was like Hallie's age, when I was 16, I didn't really have anybody to talk to me the way I think we should be talking to, especially young women, because we don't realize how, like, I'm a doula, so reproductive health is important to me. Yeah. But we don't realize how that time, I started my period when I was 12. So that time up until, 16, I really could have used some insight. I could have used some help as, how can I better prepare my body every month for what I'm going to be going through or, whatever. So
that's a key point right there that you said, preparing your body every month. Even now as I'm in adulthood, I can't say that I do that or that I even thought about. I never was told about preparing my body for my menstrual. It's like your menstruation is something that happens to you every month. And then when you get older, you're glad because it means you're not pregnant. But, after that, you're like, oh, please, I don't want to get my period. Right. So you kind of go through that. But I never was taught, and I never really considered, even in being in holistic health, quite honestly, I'm very transparent. I'm very transparent with my audience as well. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Now, I think of taking care of your body, preparing when you're going to have a baby and things like that. But I never thought about it in just even a young girl having her menstrual to prepare for that.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's just, so if we're talking about like holistic care, what that looks like, we're talking about the whole person, right? So when you're talking about as a woman, as a young woman, your body was made to do this. So this isn't just something that happens. Like, this is a part of your natural life, right? So this is what your body was made to do. So the same way, like, you need to, make sure that your airway is clear so you can breathe, because that's how your body was created. You need to make sure that your body is working optimally to be able to do the things, that it does. Like we know when we break a bone, because we have pain, right? In that area, we know if we have, knots in our back where, we're tense.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with our menstrual cycles and things like that. A lot of times your body tells you what's wrong and what it needs. We think like, acne is completely normal when you're, your hormones, but it can also be a sign of something isn't right. You've got an imbalance of hormones. That you can fix.
Typically it means that. Yeah.
Right.
Even for the fact, like I know that with acne and skin conditions, physiologically speaking, it's characterized with the liver. And usually when the liver's overloaded, the liver's toxic, you have breakouts. So our skin is our largest organ, right? So when the liver is not able to dispose of toxic waste properly, it's going to come out through the skin. Emotionally, mentally speaking, a lot of times acne and skin conditions can be attributed to peer pressure and not feeling like you belong, not feeling in, all of those types of things. And teenagers typically go through that type of stuff, even sometimes into adulthood. So that is, connected as well. But I hear you saying something a little bit different.
Well,
like
you can compound all those things.
Yeah.
All those things can be compounded. I mean, I'm a breastfeeding mother, right? So I have, my hormones go up and down, and then I have 7 kids. So I do have stress, that happens. So, I can have breakouts from a hormone, from hormone imbalance. I can have breakouts because I just got a lot going on, like you said that, it's just, so it really could just be all of these things compounded. But part of thinking holistically is thinking, okay, mentally, where am I? Physically, where am I? Spiritually, where am I? So, all those things make a difference.
Assessing yourself because, as you say, all of those parts make a difference. We are a full whole being. And so to just take one part of ourselves and just look at that, not looking at or negating the other parts, doesn't give us a real clear picture. And it doesn't help us to heal and work on our real true self. You may have hurt your arm and you go to the orthopedist because they specialize in bones and things like that. However, your arm is connected to your shoulder, which is connected to your spine. Could it be there's also a spinal misalignment? Could it be that your spine was misaligned, which made you more susceptible to have an arm injury? Like that's totally possible. So that's part of holistic healthcare and looking at the body as a whole. So yes, we're going to look at the arm, but we also want to look at the parts that are connected to it. So you just said something, that I thought was profound in talking about how all of these different aspects with skin conditions and acne and hormones and everything, whether you had a good day or a bad day or just being busy, how that can affect. So what do you do? Like, how do you balance? And I always say, like, balance is the key to life, to everything, even in the scriptures and talks about, moderation. Basically, that's balance. So we need to be balanced in our home life, in our work life, in our intimacy, like, you're a wife. So in every area of your life, everything that makes up Amber, everything that makes up Dawn has to be balanced. And so I'm a single woman now, divorced, single. So what balance looks like is, for me, is a little bit different because I don't have that partner that I'm giving to. But because of that, even the more I have to give to myself. So for you as a wife, as a mom, as all of the many different hats that you wear, hormone fluctuations and everything, what do you do? How do you find balance?
I mean, the first thing that I do is I do self-checks a lot. I mean, it's necessary. If you aren't willing, if you aren't going to check in with yourself, you don't know what's going on. And a lot of times we like check in with yourself. And
so what does that mean? Because some people, I mean, it sounds like common sense. So, but let's tell them, what does it really mean?
So a perfect example for me is I deal with anxiety, right? Okay. So it's just something that it's something that I deal with. So what I know is when I start to feel it, and I have certain things that tell me that I'm feeling anxiety, like I might feel it in my chest, I might feel it in my head. So the first thing I do is I say, what am I feeling? Okay. I name that feeling. And then I try and figure out why I'm feeling that way. Okay. So a lot of times it looks like, okay, what is the feeling? I'm feeling anxious. But why am I feeling anxious? Okay, I'm feeling anxious because I've got something that I have to do and I'm nervous about doing it, right? So
that's really good.
So then I'm saying, okay, well, if I'm nervous about doing it, how can I problem solve this and figure out, okay, do I have to do it now? Mm-hmm. If not, when can I do it? Mm-hmm. And how can I make a plan to do it when I can do it? Mm-hmm. So, like we're talking about balance, right? Mm-hmm. Just because there are things that have to be done doesn't mean that you can't rest.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you can't, put something before. A lot of us, especially some of us self-proclaimed procrastinators, we're like, no, because if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't have to be true. Mm-hmm. What can be true is I don't have the mental bandwidth to deal with it now.
And that's a good self-check.
But I can make a plan to do it later. And that's self-checking. And I do it a lot. I there was one Sunday, I'll never forget, I used the words mental bandwidth maybe 25 times.
in one day.
In one day. And I don't even think it was a whole day. I swear it was probably in a span of 4 hours where I was literally telling people, I don't have the mental bandwidth to deal with that at this moment.
Okay.
But so whatever, give me however I was going to deal with it. But I mean, I was very specific about that because it's something that I do mentally often that I have to say to myself, do I have the mental bandwidth to deal with it? And if I don't, can I make a plan to deal with it later? Can I do something? And then if I'm not going to do that, how can I give myself some space to rest in, to get myself to the place where I can deal with it when I do deal with it.
Yeah.
Because the truth about, especially for anxiety, is the anxiety is going to happen later too.
Right.
How can I deal with it now so that later I don't have as much anxiety dealing with it? So what that looks like for me is, okay, I put it off until 2 days, right? When I get ready to do it, I will set the mood. I turn on my diffuser in my room. I'll put on my worship music. And then I can better deal with what I really didn't want to deal with, right?
That is so good.
So, yeah, I mean, and again, we're talking about balance. Yeah. So that's where, that's how I'm balancing just kind of the areas in my life that look like, okay, is there space for this right now? Maybe there isn't.
Yeah.
Can I make space for it later? I don't have to say yes to everything.
Right. And that's what I was hearing. That's what I was going to say too, is that it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to a thing, an event or whatever. It's okay to say no to a person, because what I learned is saying yes to everyone else is saying no to me.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, like, if God has called me to do something and other people are coming along the way in my journey, like, can you do this? Can you do this? They're pulling me away from what God has told me to do. And I feel like he reprimanded me one time and really allowed me to see it and was like, did I tell you to do that? Or like, did I tell you to help that person? And I'm a big heart-centered person. I'm a helper. I'm a fixer. I know my strengths and weaknesses, right? So I know that I can help, but should I? Not only that, he showed me, like, sometimes we help people because we have a big heart. We care about them. We love them, right? But what is God doing in their life? Why are they in this situation? How did they get in this situation? Is this a place that God has them in right now to teach them a lesson? Because I don't want to come in with my cape like Savior when they need to be looking to the Father as Savior. And I think that is so big. And so it's okay to say no. You could be saying no to the benefit of that person, because now they need to go seek God and not come to you every single time. And then you're saying no to your benefit because you're staying focused and you're staying in line with what it is that God had you to do, and being careful of the calling that he has for you, that you're not willing to just give it up on the fly because somebody said, I need you over here. And I had to really think about, why do I feel I have to be needed? And I was like, wait a minute, like, no, like, I know what I'm here for. I know my value. I know what God has called me to. So I'm going to stay focused on that more. And I was thinking about it yesterday, because in the last 4 years, I've stopped doing a lot of things. People I used to work with, projects, and those were great. And I believe God allowed me to do it for a season. But when that season was up, I had to be willing to recognize it and say no, and say, hey, I love you. I think this is a great project. I'm grateful for the time that we had together, but this is what God is calling me to do, and this doesn't fit anymore. Right. And thankfully, they respected that and was able to see that. And it felt good to me because I was protecting myself. I was protecting my space. I was protecting the gift and the calling that God had to me. Yeah. And when I tell you, like, it was so much freedom. And I didn't realize doing that thing. I even like to do it, but it was weighing me down. Yeah. And why was it weighing me down? Because it wasn't part of my calling. So I'm trying to travel this road and dip into that road too. And that wasn't it. So I was diverting my energies. And so when I stopped, I was so much more focused and diligent on what he called me to do. And that felt good. It always feels good to know what your purpose is and be in your purpose. And know
and
that
then to invest in yourself.
Yes.
Because that's what you're doing. When you decide to say, you know, yeah, that was really great. And even I'm still getting I'm still having fun with it. I'm still getting a lot from it, but it's just not good at this moment. You're putting back into yourself. Yes. And that's part of self-care.
Yes, absolutely.
That's when you are willing to fill yourself up with whatever that looks like, that's self-care. Yeah. You know, that's what some of us, for some of us in some seasons of our life, that's the only self-care we really are going to put into ourselves before we stop and say, how much have I really been focusing on caring for myself? But for some of us, that's like going to be the first thing. And sometimes the only thing that we do is just to say, I just need to put some things away.
What would you say to the person that says, or the mom, let me be more specific. What would you say to the mom of 4 that says self-care is selfish? Like, I don't have time to do that. You know, this kid needs this and this kid needs that and my husband needs this. You know, I don't have time for self-care. What do you say to that mom?
So to that mom, I say, go get a glass and then try to drink from it. Like, just go get a glass.
Yeah. And then follow the directions. You hear what she said? She said, get a glass. The glass is a glass until you put water in it. So if you just go get a glass from the cupboard, what are you drinking?
Nothing.
Air.
and so the other thing that I would also say is it might be a little selfish, and that's not a bad thing, right? But if you think about, like I just said, go get a glass and try to drink from it. If you don't put into yourself, you're asking your family and your friends to try and drink from an empty cup. And then so I want you to look at the relationships that mean the most to you.
So good.
And say, am I giving them everything I could possibly be giving them? Because I'm not filling myself up. Yeah. You cannot drink from an empty vessel. Nobody can. Right? So you have to fill yourself up. You have to spend that time, because when you're full, sometimes you don't even have to pour. You just got overflow. Yeah. Right?
And get some.
Yes, and just get some. And they can just, you know, but when you are empty, everyone else around you feels that. They see the deficit, but they feel the deficit. So your kids who demand a lot of you, they don't get any of you. And your husband who loves you and wants to help you, be there for you, but also wants some of his wife, you have nothing for him. Yeah. So it might be a little selfish, but that's not always a bad thing. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's, you know, what looks terrible is saying, oh, I spent, 3 days, in the Hamptons or something because I had to get away from my family and I don't want to go home. And
that's bad. That's bad. That's an SOS.
But taking 5 minutes for yourself, if that's what fills you up, that's even if that is a little selfish, your kids will thank you.
And I mean, if people want to view it that way as selfish, I don't, because like you said, go get a cup and try to drink from it. So if you have nothing to give, to me, that's more selfish, because you don't stop trying to give. You're still trying to give, but you have nothing.
Yes.
So if I want to go to the ATM and pull out money, I can't pull out money if there's nothing in the account. So if I pull it out anyway, that's a deficit. My account is in the negative, and now the bank is going to find me. So what would that look like in the natural? To us, we're giving on empty. So that could mean that instead of responding to a particular situation, you react. You could be more aggressive. You can be less patient. You can be more angry. Just like a a hot fuse just ready to pop off because you didn't take the time for yourself. And this is not a women thing.
No.
We're women. Yeah. But this is a men thing too. This is, everybody needs boundaries. Everybody needs space.
Right.
Everybody needs to do this self-check-in. Everybody needs to have balance. Everybody needs to do self-care. Everybody needs to have self-love. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. It doesn't matter if you're a child. And I think that when we do it as moms, we teach our children to have self-care. And it's important even for them. And to know their boundaries.
For them. But when you emulate that for them, they in turn, they decide to kind of, they do it. Right. Yeah. So and just like you said, my kids show me how I'm showing them self-care every day, because in the morning, the very first thing that I do is I will do my meditation, which is, so I'm praying and I'm meditating. So praying is I'm talking to God, meditating is I'm listening for him, right?
So good.
So I have like a little cervical neck pillow that I put, that's underneath my pillow in my bed. I pull it out, I lay on it, and I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm doing my devotions. And if any of my kids come in, I say, Mommy's talking to Jesus and I need a minute.
So good. Yeah.
And one day my daughter came in, Kaylee, the 7-year-old, my 7-year-old, she knows who I'm talking about. But so my 7-year-old Kaylee comes in and goes, Mommy, you talking to Jesus? And I said, yes. She said, I know you're talking to Jesus. I'm not going to disturb you, but I'm going to sit here and talk to Jesus with you.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Wow, that's so good. So I heard a few things. And one, it was the emulation, like, okay, this is what mommy does. So this is a good thing. I should do it too. But she also respected the boundary that you set up. She said, okay, I'm not going to disturb you, but I just want to let you, I'm going to do it here too. Right. Like, I'm going to be in my own little space while you do it over there. I love that.
Because she recognized that it was important to me because that's what I've shown her, right? Yeah. So what would have happened if, instead of me saying, oh, I'm talking to Jesus right now, what if I had said, okay, well, I'm talking to Jesus, but it can wait.
Yeah,
right?
That would not have been good.
Downhill.
Slippery slope downhill.
I mean, not only does that not put me in a good place to spend the rest of my day with my kids, but it also eventually is teaching my kids, well, even if you're talking, even if Jesus was important, other things can come in and disrupt that. Yeah. So when I tell my kids that, my kids know I love them, but even as much as I love you, I'm not going to put you before Jesus, right? So even when they know that, when they see that happening, they're like, okay, and they know that that's a boundary that they need to respect because I've put that importance on it, right? So now my daughter, when they wake up and they see that and they come in and they see I'm meditating, Kaylee will close the door and I will hear her say, Mommy's talking to Jesus. Everybody needs to go downstairs.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
And I feel like I'm winning, right?
Yes, you absolutely are.
Because hey, not only I get some quiet time, but I know that my kids are seeing what's important and they're learning it.
Yeah. And so I want to touch on something because I want to speak to the single people for a moment, as I want to make sure that we're relatable to various people in the audience. So you're speaking to the mom, and to the wife. Now that can apply to the single mom as well, and just setting boundaries. And it may take time at first. So stick to the boundary that you set. If you said this is your quiet time, your self-care time, your time to talk to Jesus, and it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, stick to that no matter what. Okay. That's one thing. And she definitely had boundaries. And the other thing is, children will learn. Eventually, even if they don't know what 30 minutes is, set a timer or a clock. It's a great opportunity for that. But what was the other thing that I wanted to say? Oh, so speaking to the singles, this time is important for you, whether you're married or not. So in speaking to the singles, it's very important for you to safeguard your time, because here it is, you're a mom or a dad or a single dad, and you're trying to do everything. And you're trying to, as best as you can, fill all of the needs and fill all the shoes of all the roles that need to be done with your child. How do you do that if you're empty? Like, you can't. No. And when we fly in an airplane, they say, put the mask on yourself first. Right. Why? Because you can't help anybody if you're dead. Like, you need oxygen to breathe. You need oxygen to live. So God forbid something happens in the plane and they lose cabin pressure and you're trying to help the child. That's not going to go very well, because you'll end up on the floor. Right. So you put your mask on first, meaning you take care of yourself first. You address your basic needs, not wants, needs, not desires, needs, things that are necessary, things that are life-giving or life-saving. Yeah. And then you can help care for someone else. And so for me, one, as a single woman, two, as a caregiver for my mom, you know, yes, I'm a mom, but my baby's 16. So life is different now. Most of my kids are grown now. I have, you know, grandkids, but as a caregiver, I had to practice everything that I preached. Yeah. Make sure that I did care. Self-care for me was huge, because I had to not go into burnout. I had to safeguard myself against burnout. And there was times that I realized my cup was empty, because mom would do something and I might yell at her or I might get upset. And then afterwards I'm like, wow, I could have handled that so much better. But really I couldn't, because I didn't have it at the time. So that's when I knew, okay, I have to steal away. Okay, I have to, you know, sit in my quiet time, read, pray, listen to music, whatever it is. I have many different, you know, tools in my tool chest and what I do for my self-care. But I recognize I wasn't my best self in this situation because I didn't have it to give. So I have to make sure I build in time in my day, whether it's per day or per week, not per month. No. Especially if you're a caregiver and a mom, you really need it per day, or at least a couple times a week. So we're not talking about like a spa day that, you know, is going to cost you a couple $100 and you're gone for the whole day and you do that once a month. That's great. But we're talking about little things that you can do each and every day. So it's two things I want you to touch on. One is the 5 minutes, because I read that in your, if you, subscribe to her blog, she'll give you the information. She will give you her self-care guide, and it's downloadable. But I printed it out because I wanted you guys to see it. Let me have Instagram see it. I wanted you guys to see it. It is great. It will make you think, not just tips for self-care, but creating a lifestyle that makes you honor and care for yourself. So I want you to touch on that 5 minutes, because I remember reading something about 5 minutes in here. And the other thing I noticed is Sunday I had that little event and you came over, saxophone player was here, we had fun. And Kaylee was on your lap. And I heard you say to someone sitting next to you, this is her love language. Yes. Other things were going on, but you stayed there on the couch and she was like all over you, and just caressing you and just hugging. And you said, this is her love language. So those are the two things I want you to tell our audience.
So the 5 minutes is a big deal. So I have 7 kids, and I know I cannot tell you how many times people look at me and go, oh my gosh, you must like need to get away all the time. And the funny thing is, no. I really like being around my family, and I really, really, really love being around my kids. I absolutely love it. Actually, I've had friends like literally steal me away for a day, and it's been difficult for them to take me away.
Sidebar. When you had River, I forget her middle name.
Riverly.
Riverly. Yep. So Riverly. So this is when we got really close, and Amber was doing, because she does comedy, she does acting, she does like a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, we were at Gerani's Coffee House in Manassas, and she was doing a show. She was doing the show, and she was pregnant, right? So then she had the baby. So I think you might have missed one show. You had the baby.
I think I missed like 2 shows.
Two shows. It didn't even seem like it.
3 weeks or 4 weeks when we came back.
So she comes back after having a baby. She's doing a full-blown show, and I'm holding Riverly. So everybody thinks, that doesn't know me, of course, thinks that, oh, this is your baby. And I'm like, no, it's her baby. She's up there on stage acting a complete fool, having the greatest time. And Riverly was with me. So Riverly and I have like this special bond, because she's kind of like my baby too. Yeah. Okay? And I was just holding her all the time and everything. So I forgot where I was going with that.
Right.
But
I know that.
I don't know. I went down there memory lane and went into a rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
But like I said, like for me, I love being around my family. I absolutely do. I love being around my husband. I love being around my kids. I love being in my space. That I love it, and so it's very hard for me.
I remember.
Okay.
When you said it, here we go. This is good. And this is to the point. This is what it was when you said it's very hard for me. So Riverly was a baby, but she was like she could sit up. I don't know if she could walk.
Is this when you were babysitting?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was babysitting for her, and I had Lexi, my granddaughter. So this was 2 years ago or so?
No, this was like
3 years ago.
It had to be 3 years ago.
Okay, so about 3 years ago. So So Lexi was like 2, and maybe River was like 1.5.
Yeah, she might have been just maybe a little under 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she says, can you babysit? Now, mind you, at the time she had 5 children.
Yeah, she
had 5. She was number 5. So even still, sometimes you can't get one person to babysit all 5. So she had sitters for everybody except River Lee. And I was like, well, that's my baby. Bring her over. So they're like, okay, bring her over. They're going out, was it to the movies? And I think you were going to get like noodles or something.
Yeah, we went to, we went to a ramen spot.
Yes.
In Fairfax. Yeah, we went to a ramen spot in Fairfax. And then, I think we just ate
You were
ramen.
supposed to go somewhere else. So
right.
This is the deal. And this is why I bring this up. So just hang with us, laugh with us, because this is apropos, okay? So she brings River over and she's like, okay, we're going out to eat, and this is what she has, this and this, and explain all the stuff. And I'm looking at her like, okay, like I'm a mom. Like, you don't have to give me all the basics. I already know what to do. Okay. So River Lee had a blast playing with Lexi, and I remember we put them in the laundry basket, and we were pushing them down the hall. It was like the best ride ever in the living room. Okay, so an hour, maybe hour and a half or so passes, and the doorbell rings, and I was like, I'm not expecting anybody. Who's at the door? I go to the door. Who is it? And she says, it's me. I was like, what? Right? I was like, well, you can't come in. She was like, I'm tired. Give me my baby back. I was like, nope. It was at least a good 10 minutes. I did not let her or her husband come in. And she was like, come on, Dawn, I'm tired. You remember? She was like, come on, Dawn, I'm tired. And I was like, y'all need to go do like go home by yourself. Like, go do something. What are you doing back here? You got all 5 kids gone and you back in an hour and a half. Stop playing. She was like, no, seriously, I'm tired. Open the door. The whole time I would not open the door. I was like, okay, fine. And like, we were having fun. So she like spoiled River Lee's fun. We were having fun. I was like, listen, that was not enough time. Okay. But I guess they found time because they had 2 more kids.
We always find time. Okay, always.
So that goes to a point like, yes, what you find the time for what you value.
Yes.
What is important to you, what you value, you will make time for it.
And it was like, and again, like that hour and a half was perfect for us, right? It really was. Like, I know, like for her, like she felt like, oh, that's definitely not enough time, because it probably wouldn't have been enough time for you. Had you been in the same situation, you probably would have been like, well, Don's got the kids and I'm not coming back till, and you would have been okay. But for me, it just wasn't, like an hour and a half was optimal, right? Like it was just what we needed. And it looks different for everybody.
Yeah, you're
really
right.
Does.
Absolutely.
It looks different. Right. And like we're going, like I'm talking about the 5 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So, like I said, for me, my family just means everything to me, and so there's a reason why I have 7 kids. Right. It's not just because, oh my gosh, it's fun making them. Like, I love being a mom. I mom hard, and I mom hard for a reason, because it means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. So
she moms mine too.
I do. She does. I don't want a day away, and I don't need a day away. Mm-hmm. That's not what I need. Right. Now, somebody else might. Yeah. But
that's how I feel with mine too. Right. Even at this teenage level, I love being with them. Mm-hmm. And then now they're teenagers, so they might be in their room on their phone, on TV. And I'm like, why is your door closed? I like spending time with them. So I'm not a big TV movie person, but the other day Ashley was like, okay, well, let's watch this movie. This movie was from 2014. Okay, 2014. I was like, I'm sure there's a lot of newer movies out.
Yeah.
But she liked this movie. Yeah. And I forgot that I watched it until like the first 3 to 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, Ashley, we watched this one. But it was like, okay, because it really didn't matter the movie we were watching. It's just that we sat on the couch with the fireplace on, together, eating popcorn. I ate way too much popcorn. But anyway, and just watching the movie. So it was a good movie, but it was about spending quality time with her. Yeah. So finish that with the 5 minutes and the self-care.
And the self-care.
Self-love. No. Love language.
Yes.
We'll get it. Who's paying attention out there? Asha said, I love that. Willie said, hello, Dawn. Can you read what Asha said right there? Because I can't see that.
She said, I stopped eating meat drink specific tea and I drink more water the week before, and it shortens it, and I don't PMS. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Asha's referring back to when we were talking about menstruals, and she prepares her body the week before she's supposed to get it, and that preparation helps her to have a better menstrual and a shorter menstrual, which is awesome.
That's that.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's just that we're not taught that.
No.
And even though I came up in holistic health, that's not something I was taught as a woman. As a woman, it makes sense, holistic health. But I realized that I wasn't taught that as a woman. And so because I didn't know that, I didn't teach that to my daughter. And then you came and mothered them. And she taught. And so this is why it takes a village to raise a child.
It absolutely does.
So in an area that I was weak, I have a friend that could see a need and she filled it in. And vice versa, because I love on her kids when they come
all the time.
I'm Auntie Dawn, and I always have, healthy snacks. So sometimes not so healthy snacks, but
most. And there's been times when my kids have been sick or something. You've been like, I'm coming over with the oils, and you're like, I'm rubbing, and I'm like, I'm here for it. So, but so back to 5 minutes. All right, so for me, a good 5 minutes, like in my morning routine is, I'm praying, I'm meditating. For me, that's a really good 5 minutes that I do every single day. And that's part of my self-care that I do every day. So that's a 5 minute thing that I make sure I do. Sometimes it takes a little longer than 5 minutes. For the most part, 5 minutes is really the most that I need. And it does exactly what it's supposed to do for me, because not only is it personal for me, it means a lot to me. But, it's something I'm intentional about, and make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do it, and I'm filled up for the rest of the day. So whatever that 5 minutes looks like for somebody else, it might be, a 5 minute shower with nobody interrupting, right? Like just a good hot shower. Like you don't have to worry about jumping out and just, about to get cold, but a good hot shower might be good. Or even, just a quiet drive. My husband loves a quiet drive. Like for him, and to be able to do that, it's just like, it's everything for him, right? For me, I don't like a quiet drive. I don't. But for my husband, that's great. And for him, he can call that self-care, and he knows, he did what he needed to do for himself, that's and good. Whatever. So that's the 5 minute thing, really, basically, just really kind of, what is it that you can do? And if you go to my website, withthelocks.com, WITHTHE locks LOCKS.com, and go to Real Mom Talk, and you can download the self-care kit, and in there it talks, there's a little like self-care pros and cons, checklist. It's where really good, where you can, really kind of go through and say, okay, what are the pros and cons of taking 5 minutes and not taking 5 minutes, right? So, if I don't take 5 minutes,
page 3,
if I don't take 5 minutes, what does that look like? The pros, and what are the cons if I don't take 5 minutes, right? What are the pros and cons if I decide to take 15 minutes? What are the pros and cons if I decide to take, a 1 hour drive by myself every week? Okay,
I love that, because it's a lifestyle change, not just a in the moment kind of sporadic, and there's a place for that too. Because
if it's not intentional, it's not self-care. It's just not self-care. If it's not intentional, it's a coincidence, right? It's not self-care. It's like, oh, I finally had time to get that cup of coffee, and it made me feel so good.
I remember
but if it's not
reading
intentional,
that. Talk about that.
Like if because when in the blog I talk about it, if it's for it to be something that works, it has to be personal, intentional, and has to be optimal. So personal means for you, this is something will fill you up. I had a girlfriend years ago who was like, oh, we should go get our nails done every week because that's so good for me. And I was like, I don't like getting my nails done like that. That would not fill me up. I don't enjoy that. So even if I went to go get my nails done, it's not something that would be like, oh my gosh, that feels so good. But now for somebody like you that might really make you feel great and be like, oh,
I like it, but
but for some people, but for some people, it's like, oh, I got to pamper myself. And that's what I needed, right? And that's not me. So if I'm trying to adopt somebody else's self-care routine, it's not optimal for me.
Say that again.
If I'm trying to adopt somebody's self-care routine, that's not optimal for me, right? Because you know, and this goes for like anybody who's trying to be a Pinterest mom or trying to, you know, an Instagram mom. Yeah, you're looking at what they're doing and you're like, oh, I should do this. Like, I can't tell you when I was on Instagram a lot, how many Instagram journals, you know, or they'd be like, I am not a journaler, but everybody's telling me, oh, this journal is so neat and you should get this. And I was like, I don't like journals. If I was to get a journal, it would not fill me up. I don't like journaling.
Yeah.
So if I was trying to do this because, oh, it's a fad right now, or because somebody said that it really helps them, and I try to adopt it and I know that it's not really something that would do anything for me, I'm not creating something that's personal for me, and then it's not going to be optimal, right?
Waste some money and time.
Exactly. And then it's not going to fill me up. So then not only does it have to be personal, but it also has to be intentional, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, in the blog, I talk about like, you know, that 5 minutes that I get to steal away to take a hot shower. That is not self-care, right?
That is so good. Yeah. Yeah.
If I say to my kids, okay, mommy put breakfast on the table, I'm going to go take my shower now. Mm-hmm. I will be back in 5 minutes. That's self-care. If I do it every single morning and I tell my kids, okay, hey, your breakfast is on the table. The cartoons are on the TV already. Mm-hmm. Mommy's going to take 5 minutes. I'll even put the timer on Alexa. Alexa set a timer for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Mommy's going to go take her shower and then I'll be back. Mm-hmm. That's good. That is intentional. I am making that time because I know that that's what I need to fill me up. Mm-hmm. And I'm making sure that my kids understand this is what it is. I've set the boundaries that they know. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about, you know, earlier with my daughter, respecting the boundaries and being able to say, okay, mommy, I know, you know. Yeah. And I've made that space to take care of myself. Yeah. That has to be the case, right? It can't be a coincidence. It has to be intentional. Otherwise, it isn't self-care.
And the fact that she's 7. So sometimes I know the older ones go to school earlier and then you are homeschooling the younger ones. So sometimes she's the oldest in the house as far as the children, right?
Yeah.
So her knowing and understanding mommy's space, mommy boundaries helps her to observe them, but also helps her to be like the mommy caregiver over her siblings.
Yeah.
And so she's observing it for them too. And safeguarding that for you. So I love that. So to the mom that would say, oh, my children are too young. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
If you begin to teach them now and you help them to understand, not only is it good for them as they're growing up as children, you're training them in the way that they should go, which the Bible tells us. And then that helps them to become healthier teenagers and adolescents and adults.
Yes.
And so nobody's having to teach you as an adult who's half burnt out and full of anxiety to take time for yourself, because this is something that you would have learned because you saw your mom do it. In my case, I didn't know that. My kids didn't see that. Like 2011, when I moved here to Virginia from New York, and that was like a self-discovery time for me and a healing time for me after divorce and everything between 2011 and 2012. So somewhere around 2012, when I started getting, you know, this really revelation, like, hey, I need to take care of me. But as a divorced woman, it was like the husband and the family and the church was everything. Now I don't have that. Right. I don't have that MRS. I don't have those in-laws. I don't have those church responsibilities anymore. I moved away. Now what do I do? Like, what do I even like? Like, where do I want to go? And so it was a real discovery time for me as a newly divorced single mom.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 4 kids at the time, different ages, like 5, 9, 12, 13 and like 16. Isaiah was like 16, 17 at the time, right? He's a grown man with a kid now. So when I started to go out, it was hard for me. Yeah. And I was very performance driven because of the abuse from my dad, grandpa, and all that stuff. So I'm delivered, I'm healed from that. Thank you, Jesus. And so I'm not so performance driven anymore. So because of that, I was always doing, going, and would beat myself up in a sense if I didn't get things done, or somebody spilled milk on the floor and I just mopped the floor. I would lose it. I'm telling you, I would lose it. So God helped me, healed me, showed me some things, and began to take time for myself, because I wasn't doing that. I wasn't taught that. That wasn't emulated for me. I didn't know. So I learned the hard way. I learned the long way. And when I started doing it, my kids was like, where you going? Especially Isaiah, because He was my protector, 16, 17 years old. He's now the man of the house because his older brother didn't move with us. And so he's looking out for mommy. And I respected that. I totally understood as it was happening. And I'm like, well, mommy's going out now. And they were like, with who? Where and with who, right? And so I had to teach them at those ages, 17, 12, 9, and 5, that mommy needs this time. It was foreign. So it took them time to get adjusted. Now it's like, whatever. If I end up not coming back home, they're like, whatever. They understand now. But at that time, because that's when I learned it. So when I learned it, they were immersed. They had to learn it quick, fast, in a hurry. And I remember one day Isaiah came home, I guess a half a day for lunch, working on some program. And it was a young lady that came with him, not a girlfriend, anything, just a friend. They were in class together and they had a project. So I was going out. And Isaiah was like, Mom, where you going? Mom, who you going with? And his friend was like, oh, just leave her alone. She probably has a date. He put that girl in her place. He put that girl in her place so fast it wasn't even funny. And basically she was like, chill, like your mom's a grown woman. But he was protecting. And I was always wearing a super mom cape. I never took a break. I barely sat down. So it was completely and utterly foreign to him. It almost wasn't fair looking back now. I was like, listen, you better learn that because I'm going. But at that time, it was a lifesaver for me because I realized what I came from, what I came out of, and learning that I need this. And for me to be good for them, I had to do this. And I wasn't gone for a long time, but just for me to be gone and none of them coming with me was like, what is this? What's happening right now? So to you moms, whether you have young ones, whether you have older ones, self-care, boundaries, self-love. You're doing it for yourself because you need it, but you're also teaching it to your children. And it's very helpful. So that same son, Isaiah, is very helpful for his wife. He makes sure she has her self-care time. Whatever it is, whether he's sending her to get her nails done, feet done, whatever the case may be, or just out to the store or whatever, he takes the girls. He has no problem. I have never, ever seen him shun or any adverse reaction to, honey, I need you to change the baby. Honey, can you feed Ellie or Bella or whatever? Never. He bathes them. He changes them from the beginning. Even the poo-poo diapers, like he is in it 1,000%. And I love that about him. So to you men out there, make sure that you're caring for your child because it is not a women thing. And what you may not realize is changing diapers, bathing, feeding, those are kind of self-care things for the baby. They're bonding times. They're bonding time. So it's
there are also
important.
ways that you can fill your wife up, there are also ways to fill her up because, and I mean, as a mom of 7, I cannot say that like the entire time I've been momming that I've been self-caring. I can honestly say that has not been the case. Right. But a lot of times we don't realize that we need that break. Until somebody gives it to us. We don't realize that I would rather sit here on my phone than go change that baby. Because sometimes like that, sometimes we don't realize that. It's just, and so a lot of times that's how we can be filled up by other people so that we have a little more to give to everybody else. Because, hey, that 5 minutes to change a baby and I've been dealing with kids all day.
You made me think of also, as a massage therapist, sometimes people think, oh, I don't really need a massage. I'm good. And then you touch them and like, oh. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that it hurt there. Or I didn't know that it was tense there. Like, oh, wow, that feels so good. That's such a relief. And I just touched one spot. And it was just like, wow. So the body has a way of holding things and helping you to process and deal with things. And you don't always know that it's a problem until it's a problem. Wow, so good. I have so many notes here. Did we talk about the love language?
Right. Okay. So I have made it a point this past year to learn all of my kids' love languages. Right.
That's a lot of languages.
It's a lot of languages.
Well, there's 5 languages, but there's 7 kids.
But there's 7 kids. And I will tell you, I have only 2 kids that have the same love language. The rest of them are all different, right?
Really?
And so my 7-year-old, her love language is quality time. So that looks like for her, sometimes she is just sitting right next to me, right? Wanting to, see what I'm doing or whatever. Or sometimes she's literally in my lap. And I'm realizing that she just needs this, right? So I give that to her.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I don't do this every single day, but there are times where I can love my kids in their love language kind of all day, every day, right? If I'm looking for the opportunities to do
That's
so.
so good. Looking for the opportunity.
And sometimes, and for me, it does not look like I'm thinking, oh man, I'm just taking the cues, right? So like when we were at your party, she sat in my lap. I didn't put her there. Right? She sat in my lap and she was holding me, and that was my cue to love on her because she needed that. She was telling me that she needed me to fill her up that way. So that's what I did. Now I have my Phoenix, my 5-year-old, she's my words of affirmations kid, right? So I know that when she is trying to get my attention or when she's getting frustrated because she feels like I'm not listening to her, that's her telling me, I need you to fill me up right now and I need you to listen to me or I need you to talk to me. So I will, if I can, I will say, okay, I'll tell everybody else in the room, I understand that you're trying to talk to me right now, or I know you want me to see something, but I just want 5 minutes because Phoenix is trying to get my attention. So I just want to give her 5 minutes.
That's really so good.
So, and my kids respect that.
Yeah.
They're like, because I'm telling them, I get this a lot where it'd be like, oh, you're talking to the child. My kids they understand, right? And they can get that if I'm playing with them, right? If I give them the opportunity to grasp it, they will.
And it also helps them to be safe to know that you're taking this time away for Phoenix, but when they need time, you'll give it to them.
I'll give it to them, right?
I feel like that would give them a sense of security.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It definitely does. I mean, because they see that mommy she's trying, right? And I tell them, I tell my kids often, I can't do everything at one time.
Right.
I can only do this much.
Yeah, you should have had 2.
Right. But if you give me a minute,
yes,
I can, I can come back. And there have been times when I failed. I'm definitely not perfect at it. But my dog, there have been times where they'll come back and say, Mommy, you said that you would do this. I'm so sorry. I forgot. Yeah. But I feel good knowing that they can come to me and say, Mommy, you didn't do this. You said that you would. I am so sorry. I forgot. Let's do that now. Or give me 5 more minutes. I'm doing something else, but 5 minutes, you can set a timer and I will come back.
That's so good.
But, it's just for me, that was important to get to know all of my kids' love languages so that I could try and mentally figure out what ways can I love them every day where, I can be intentional about it. But also, if I feel like I'm failing, like a lot of us moms do, sometimes we can be like, oh, I didn't do this. And, oh man, but if I'm thinking back to I got to have a 5-minute conversation with Phoenix today, and I know that she really enjoyed that because the smile on her face was just, crazy. Or, I got to hold on to Kaylee, today, and I know she enjoyed that because she was just in my arms, just melted like butter, if I can take those, I'm filling myself up because I'm like, all of those expectations that I put on myself, or, maybe all those expectations that I'm expecting other people to put on me, I can chip away at those by remembering but I did do this for my kids today, or I did do this. So, part of just being intentional, that word, I'm going to use it a lot, but being intentional about, being able to give, them, but see, me learning their love language, that was filling me up, right? Because my family is important to me.
Yes.
So because my family is important to me, something that was personal, a part of my self-care routine that I did was I learned all of their love languages, right? So that I could give to them out of however I fill myself up.
Yeah.
So I know that regardless of what goes on, and there are some days where I don't parent as well as I like. And I think to myself, well, I wonder if my kids think I don't like them, or I wonder if my kids are upset, whatever. And I can look inward and go, But I do a really good job every other time. And I think that whatever foundation I've created in my kids can handle whatever little blow.
And that's important. You talked about foundation. And so foundation with our kids and their relationships. And then our foundation with God, right? So that we can be balanced. Otherwise, what are we building on? And then our foundation in a marriage, even as well. That was good. I heard so many great little tidbits in there. I hope that you guys are really listening and listening in between what it is she's saying. I want to just check in with you guys and see if you have any questions. Someone said Merry Christmas. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you as well. Pray that you all have a safe, blessed, wonderful holiday, enjoying your families and enjoying yourself. And remember to say no if you need to. Right. Okay? And don't allow anyone else's emergency to become your crisis. And I'm teaching that to Hallie right now. So, plan ahead, because when you don't, it affects my plans. And then I have to do something that I don't want to, and I'm mad. I'm honest. And I tell her, I'm like, I'm mad. And I'm mad because you didn't honor my time. So because you didn't plan ahead, now I have to race across town to do this at an ungodly hour because you didn't think ahead and plan. And that's not fair to me. Right. So I'm like, I'm hurt now, or I'm upset now because I feel that that's unfair, and I feel that you didn't consider me. So I'm talking to her, and she's understanding enough, wise enough, mature enough to be able to understand that language, because I don't want to just lash out to her. I don't want to just show her that I'm angry. I need her to understand why. Right. So if you understand why I'm angry, why I'm upset, then hopefully you'll think twice the next time. And whatever that behavior was that caused mommy to be upset, you won't do that, or you'll find another way to do that. And then I give her suggestions on what it is that she could have done, so that way she's not ending up late and last minute, and then that's affecting, my plans. Because kids can be very self-centered. Very selfish. And not that they're doing it purposely, but that's right. They're just thinking about themselves. That's their world.
The span of thought that they have is like this, like that. Being able to look at the bigger picture, that's just not, cognitively, it's just not their capacity.
So we teach them. And we help them. So how, and I think this would be a good question, how did you figure out your children's love language? Like, what can you tell these moms and dads out here? What should they be looking for? Now, I know there's a book. Gary Chapman has a book. And he wrote the original, the 5 love languages.
But there's also a love language for your kids.
I was going to say, yes, he came out with, and another one. So he has like 4 now for like different ages. And I thought that was really great. So now you can hone in for the teens. You can hone in for the younger ones. So I really, really love that. So tell our audience, how did you discover what their love languages were?
Well, I mean, so what's funny is, before I even like really decided to like hone in on it, I could kind of tell, right? Because if you think about the love languages, words of affirmations, gift giving,
quality
time, acts of service, and what was the fifth one?
Quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts. What's the other one? It's gonna come to me. Help us, guys. What's the
right?
So we're drawing. Okay. Anyway,
so there are things that people do. So so what's funny is, and when I say this, you're going to be like,
touch.
Yes, physical touch.
How can I forget? Yes, I'm a touchy person.
So when I say this, you're going to be like, of course. So people love in their love language.
Yes.
Right. So my kid, who is a quality time person, that's how she loves everybody else around her, is she gives herself, right? She's spending time with everybody else that's important to her. So even before I'm like really trying to read the book or whatever, I'm like, I think I can tell.
Okay.
Before, and so, Phoenix, who is the words of affirmation kid, right? I see that what's important to her is talking and being heard, or even being talked to. Like, if I tell her something that like really makes her feel good, oh my gosh, like the smile on this child's face, like when she feels like, validated by something. And so there are certain ways, even before you decide to read the book, or, it's, you can go, okay, I'm paying attention, just kind of paying attention to how do they love? What are the things that they do the most? Wow. And then that might be like, if you have a kid who's constantly making you something, like drawing every time they draw, and they want to bring you what they drew. This is for you. This is for you. That's probably a gift giving time.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you say it, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But I think we don't see it in that context.
You don't see it, right?
When it's happening.
Well, it's so funny. I was telling my mom the other day, I was like, I think I should write, one of the next blogs I'm going to write is about, knowing your friends' love languages, right? So I was because I know your love language, Dawn. I know your love language. What is it? Well, I know one of your love language has to be gift giving because you give gifts all the time, right? And I'm like, whenever you go somewhere,
a love language.
Whenever you go somewhere, you're bringing us something back or whatever. And I'm like, I know that has to be her love language because she's always thinking of us.
But
whatever.
Let me tell you, that's not the love language that I require. But
it might be secondary.
You guys are very special to me, and I feel like you help me in so many different ways, known or unknown. And so I just want to bless you. So when I'm out and I think of you, like that shirt I saw, I was like, oh my God, this is so Dre. I gotta get this for him. Or I walked in Walmart a couple of weeks ago and I saw a purple plant. So I know your mom loves purple, and it had glitter on it. Now I'm a bling person. I don't know how much she likes bling, but I like bling. So this was a purple plant and it had glitter, and the first thing she said is, oh, the glitter. So obviously it was purple, we all knew that, but she really loved the glitter. And so I just felt good to give her that gift. So, but I don't require gifts. For me, it's quality time and it's personal touch, so I love that way also. But I think just with our whole pandemic and everything that we're going through, I feel it's so much more important to communicate, so much more important to show love and to let people know while they're still here that you love them, that you care for them, that they're important to you. So I'm a giving person. So I didn't even think about that. I honestly didn't, because if you give me a gift, that's great. But I'd rather you say, hey, let's go out and get a smoothie. Let's, go to lunch or, whatever like that. So Wait, but that's why I got you a gift card to somewhere.
Chili's.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm thinking this is a great way for you and Dre to go out, whether to lunch or dinner or whatever. So I'm thinking quality time. Yes. But I gave it to you in a gift. I wasn't even thinking about it. I honestly
Well, and I think too, and I could say because I think we haven't gotten to spend as much time together, I think as we normally do, I feel like we've spent more time together than we have probably in the last 6 months, because I've been momming, like I had a baby and I've been home. So I think probably that, I know. So probably, so probably that's kind of you transferring kind of like, I'm thinking about you, I want to spend time with you.
I stole your mom.
Well,
I didn't steal her. We're sharing. Her mom is Beth, the wonderful, beautiful, awesome, amazing woman that helps take care of my mom. She's like a second Dawn to my mom. If I could have cloned myself, that's so bad. So Amber was like, you stole my mom. So I'm like, okay, I have to keep Amber happy, okay? So she doesn't take her mom away. And then I have to keep her mom happy. So that's the motivation. Like, Beth is doing an amazing job, but it's like, if Amber allows her to, she's so controlling. So anyhow, I'm like, so Beth said she was cold. And she was like, man, I need some leg warmers. Don't you know I bought her some leg warmers? She didn't get them yet because it's in her Christmas present. But I was like, another day, she was like, dang, I need some thermals. Guess what came in the mail 2 days later? Did she show you her thermals? Yes. She was like, ooh, they're so soft. But let me tell you, she is the happiest that she could be. And she's warm. Yeah. Okay, but let me tell you, the quick backstory is that she's from Florida. So she was expecting to go home to Florida after she came to help her daughter with the baby and everything. So like July-ish, she was like, okay, I'm going back to Florida. But it's December and she's still here. So I'm like, okay, you need a coat? I got you. You need leg warmers? No problem. Like, whatever. I need to keep her warm. I need to keep her here, okay? I don't want her to go back to Florida, so it doesn't even matter. Like, whatever I have to do.
She's freezing right now. Like, I'm always like, your iron is low. You should not be this cold. She's like, it's so cold. But
she's not used to it.
No.
I should have been born in the tropics. I was born in the north, and I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
I've never gotten used to it. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. And somehow I bought into a lie like, oh, I'm moving south, which it was south of New York, but it wasn't really south.
Yes.
So when I got here that first winter, I was like, oh, it
gets cold. Yeah.
I really thought I wasn't going to need my winter coat. Nobody told me.
No.
I didn't research everything else but the climate. I was like, I'm moving south. I'm going to Virginia. It's going to be warm.
Yeah, it's warmer.
It is warmer. But you know what I found? And this is like scientific fact. Is like on a given day, and even in the summer, it's like 4 degrees warmer than New York.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Only 4 degrees.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing big.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I thought I wasn't going to need my winter coat. So when I left the house that day and I walked just like through this little path to the store across the street, I froze. And I was upset though, because I was like, why didn't nobody tell me? Like, what were you thinking? How could I? Listen, I moved south.
Yeah.
But not south enough to be warm.
Plan better.
This is where God sent me, so I just gonna have to deal with the cold.
Yeah.
This is where he sent me. Okay, so we are running out of time, but we had so much fun. I hope that you guys had fun watching. If you have any questions, whether it's for me, whether it's for Amber, and just give you a little bit of maybe some ideas. If you have questions on parenting, if you have questions on doula, or you've not had a baby, you want to prepare to have a baby, or if you want to have a natural birth, she's done all that, water births and everything. Yeah, all of that good stuff. So whatever it is that you have a question, your womanhood, your parenthood, relationships, whatever, feel free to reach out to me. You know how to reach out to me, but also you can reach out to Amber, and definitely go to her website, With the Locks, just as it sounds, withthelocks.com. And you can subscribe to her blog, right? And you'll get the free self-care guide. Is downloadable. You can print it if you want, or just read it on your device. And so I just want to thank you for sharing this time. What final closing remarks or anything that you want to leave with them?
Definitely just think about how you can be personal, intentional, and optimal about what you're doing, right? Just any time of the day, whatever it means. We talked a lot about self-care. So, just getting your mind out of, oh, that means I have to leave, right? Or that means I need space and time away, just start even tomorrow morning with intentionally thinking, how can I fill myself up today?
So good.
So yeah,
And I like that you said, be personable, be intentional, be optimal, like in your life with everything. So you took it even outside of self-care, which is important, which is the main, crux of our topic tonight. But that's also important just for life. Yeah. And I want to say even for business. And that's one of the things God's been saying to me is be intentional. So even, okay, what is the purpose of this? Even our live tonight, I'm like, okay, what is the purpose of this? The purpose is to get information to men and women that will be watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay, to have this information, because my goal is to help you to have a better life, whatever it is that you're doing in life, so that you can show up better, you can show up more authentically, and you can enjoy yourself. Like, live, damn it.
Yes, live, right?
Just live. Like, and so many things are like trying to steal your life away in a sense. And self-care is one of those ways that you kind of get it back. And not everybody is a hot bath type of person, and that's okay. Be intentional about finding what it is that you like.
Right.
Not what your friends like, not what you read and you felt was a good idea, but what is it that you like? What is it you want to do? What is it that makes you feel good? Maybe it is a nail appointment, and that's great for you. Go do that. But maybe that's not. Maybe it's browsing and window shopping. Do that, whatever it is. And then I love that you say, because I do this too in my self-care checklist. There's things that you can do outside the home and things you can do inside the home. Things that you can do that cost money, things you can do that don't cost money. So let's not put all of those in the same bucket. You doing self-care doesn't mean you have to spend any money. No. And it doesn't mean you have to leave your house. And some people may be like, what? Yeah. Sit down and read a book with your, hot cup of cocoa or coffee, smoothie, whatever it is that floats your boat. Do something that you like. It does not have to cost money. So that takes that off the table. Like, that's not an excuse.
Yeah, really.
You don't
quick,
even have to leave the home.
I want to give an example because this was so what you said. My sister read the blog, and when she downloaded the thing, she called me and she goes, okay, so I thought the self-care meant I had to leave, right? She's like, I didn't think about it until I, read your blog. This is my sister. I talk to her all the time, right? And this is not something she considered. And she goes, the first thing I'm going to do tomorrow when I get home from work is I'm turning my ringer off. At 5, I'm turning my ringer off. She's like, because nobody is, who's going to have to call me or going to be is going to be more important than the time I need to take to spend with my kids or whatever.
So good.
And for her, that is the first step she made in her self-care routine is saying, I'm going to turn my ringer off at 5 o'clock. That's it. No exceptions, no rules. So now she told me about that boundary, right? If I look at the time and I'm about to call my sister, it's 5 o'clock. Nope.
You don't do it. Yeah.
I don't do it.
So that's good. That teaches boundaries to her job or whoever it is that's calling her. And then also to her children. And they can appreciate, like, I haven't seen mommy all day. This is my mommy time. And she's safeguarding this time. So, guys, so important. Self-care is not just for us. It's first for you because it's going to fill you up. But anybody that you have a relationship with, it's for them too, because you show up better for them, whether it's helping them, guiding them, teaching them, just being around them. Because if you're filled up, you're a whole person, you're going to emanate something so different. You're going to have this positive energy. You're going to be fully yourself. So even if a problem arises, like, you have what you need to handle it properly, because there's a difference between responding and reacting. We don't want to react unless somebody's chasing you. Then you need to react. But other than that, you want to respond. You want to handle the situation in a way that's not going to cause hurt, pain, or damage, whether to that person or also to yourself. So I know that we went a little bit over, and that happens from time to time on Wellness Wisdom Wednesday, because this is a free show. And when I say free, I don't mean monetary. I mean, like, you being free. Hopefully what you're learning here is helping you to be a better person, a freer person, to love yourself, to like yourself, to love those that are around you. And then if there's a problem, if there's a break in relationship, hopefully you're getting some tips and ideas on how to mend that, how to fix that, because it's not good to stay there. It's good to recognize it and know what you're dealing with, but then you need a plan of action. And if that's you and you don't know what to do, then definitely reach out to one of us to get some help, whatever we can do to help, or even if it's prayer or guidance or directing you to the right person. But whatever you're going through, don't go through it alone. And whatever it is that you're dealing with, trust and believe there's a remedy. There is a remedy, and whatever you're going through, it won't last always. Trouble doesn't last always, and the Bible says it. So we have to look to the hills from whence cometh our help. Our help comes from the Lord. And so not just in prayer, because that's very important, and we talked about that, but also in fellowship, in relationship. And sometimes we need to be around somebody else, bounce off ideas or whatever, just vent, whatever, but get it out. Don't stay, locked up and keep your feelings inside. And all. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for anyone else. So this was some tips tonight on how to avoid burnout, on how to take care of yourself, and really understanding what self-care means, and giving you some ideas so you don't have to go outside if you don't want to. You don't have to spend money if you don't want to, or you don't have it. No excuses. You can still do self-care. My daughter asked me the other day what I wanted for Christmas, and I was like, I don't know. So today I thought about, what I want? I want a Panera card. Because Panera, to me, that's a quality time that I do with the girls sometimes. But that could be like a self-care thing for me, because I would go just kind of chill out, whether I scroll on my phone or I turn my phone off, just have my little pastry and a cup of hot chai tea. Like, you can tell, right? So that's a self-care thing for me. So I thought about that today, but she bought me something. Oh. And she's so excited. I'm like feeling all, butterflies inside, because she's so excited. And she was like, it's really like something cute to wear. So she's so excited about this gift that she bought. She can't wait to give it to me. So she's going to be away. So I was like, well, let's do it on Sunday when you and your sister come back, and we'll do it all together. And she was like, okay. So then I was downstairs coming up the steps, and I could hear a tape like, really loud, right? And I was like, what was that? And she was like, oh, so I'm coming up the stairs, and she's like, don't look. And I was like, I'm not looking. So she was wrapping my gift. So then she tells me, she's like, well, don't look, go. So she says, I'm wrapping your gift. And I'm like, okay. So she comes into my office and she was like, well, I just finished wrapping your gift and I want you to open it. And I was like, what happened? We said we were doing this on Sunday. She was like, I know, but I changed my mind. I can't wait. So I am going to make her wait because we're going to do everything together, on Sunday and make a thing of it instead of just like a one-off.
Right.
So anyway, I'm just excited. Like she's excited about this. Like she's working now. She's driving now, so she can go to the bank and she can do her own little errands and stuff. So she, she finally bought me a gift with her own money. Not a gift with my money, So I can't wait to see. And she's such a fashionista. So I'm sure I'm gonna like it, whatever it is. So I'm excited. So anyway, guys, we're good friends too, so we can just go on and on. But thank you so much for watching. Tune in next week. 2 important announcements, so don't go. You held on this long. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hope that this was valuable for you. Feel free to put some comments, likes, information in the chat, in the comment box. More than anything, share this with someone else. Somebody else needs to know who Amber is. Someone else needs to get that information. Somebody might be frazzled with 2 kids, much less 7. If she can do it with 7,
you can do it.
I know mom sometimes gets frazzled with 1 kid. Yes. So it's not even so much the number of kids. Mm-hmm. It's the thought process and how you handle life.
Right.
So
it's the perspective.
The perspective. So it's a whole nother, topic we can go into at some point. But share it. That's the point. Is to share the information. Don't keep it to yourself. Somebody that doesn't know Amber needs to know Amber. Okay. Somebody that doesn't know me needs to know me. So, hey, share it. Subscribe to her. Go check out her blog, withthelocks.com. The other announcement is next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. I have an awesome and amazing guest. This is a young man that I met. I'll even let you know his name right now. You can check out his website. He is phenomenal. He is anointed. He is gifted. He is talented. To say that someone is called and is walking in their purpose with authority, his picture would be there. Wow. I don't know, especially outside of being like a pastor prophet, that I've ever seen it like so crystal clear. Like, wow, he is smack on the path that God has for him. And it just gave me such joy in my heart. So his name is Devontae Butler. And I'll spell it for you. DEVANTAE Butler.com, DevontaeButler.com. He's awesome and amazing. He is an inspirational, motivational coach. He goes to various schools, colleges, and things, and he's talking to the children and empowering them and encouraging them and helping them to be their best self. And I love it. And I was like, I can't wait to meet you and really talk with you. I said, because this is what you're doing for the youth. I said, and I am empowering and educating their parents. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So great. So I maybe could reach the parents. I maybe can't reach the children.
Right.
He can reach the children. He asked my daughter and her friend like 2 questions. Floored. Amber, these 2 questions changed their life. Wow. I'm so serious. I'm standing there watching, like I wanted to jump, shout, scream, like everything all at once. I was like, oh my God. Profound questions that even I had to think about it. And I was like, wow, like that was good. Talk about getting to the heart of the thing. Yeah. They cannot be the same after those 2 questions. Wow. So I need you guys to be online. He's traveling. He has a whole speaking tour. I don't want him to come on here and be like, there's only 2 people on. So I need y'all to come out. I need y'all to tell people more than anything, because he's so amazing. And I want you to see this. I want you to hear what he has to say. Because listening to him talking to them was even inspirational, for me. And so he's not just to the young people. He can reach anyone. This is a gift and a calling that he is like operating in like nothing. Just so amazing. So make sure that you're here next Wednesday at 9 p.m. And the other thing is, I have an announcement. I'm so excited about this. I didn't even post about it. I'm like, what am I going to say? So today when I woke up, I opened my email and look.
That's awesome.
I am on Disruptors Magazine, and I am listed as one of the top 30 inspiring women to look out for in 2022. So I'll be sharing the information, and you can get the link and you can look at it online. You can subscribe to the magazine if you desire to, but the information will be there. So I'm pretty excited about this. Disruptors Magazine, top inspiring women. So God is on the move. He is doing great things. I'm just looking forward to even more doing exactly what he told me to do. Being intentional.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm like, I gotta celebrate. Do I go to Panera? Do I go? I gotta celebrate. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Share the video, like the video, and bye for now. We're gonna end this broadcast. That was so much fun.